Hey everyone, welcome back to SwitchTop. Today, we're diving into the coziest corner of the Switch library with the top 25 best cozy games you can play right now. Whether you're looking to unwind after a long day or just want something relaxing to play in handheld mode, these games have got you covered. Let's jump into the countdown. Undusted, Letters from the Past, is a quietly absorbing cozy game built around the simple yet deeply satisfying act of cleaning, turning everyday objects into interactive memory puzzles. Gameplay centers on carefully restoring dusty household items using a small set of tools such as sponges, brushes, cloths, and air blowers, with full 3D rotation, zooming, and object interaction that encourages close observation rather than speed or precision. There are no timers, fail states, or pressure systems. Instead, the rhythm is slow and deliberate, letting the tactile joy of revealing clean surfaces drive progression. On Switch, touch controls enhance this loop, allowing direct scrubbing and intuitive manipulation that feels natural in handheld play, while remaining comfortable with standard controls when docked. Each object cleaned unlocks fragments of a gentle narrative focused on Adora as she revisits her late mother's neglected home, with memories unfolding through short, reflective text moments tied directly to the items you restore. This storytelling approach makes the cleaning itself feel meaningful, as every polished surface carries emotional weight rather than serving as filler. Winter Burrow blends gentle survival mechanics with a warm, storybook atmosphere, creating a cozy yet purposeful experience centered on restoration and belonging. You play as a small mouse returning to a long-abandoned childhood burrow, now worn down by time and harsh winters. And the core gameplay revolves around exploring a snowy woodland, gathering resources, and carefully preparing for the cold. Survival elements are present, but intentionally forgiving, focusing on managing hunger, warmth, and energy rather than punishment, which keeps the tone relaxed while still encouraging thoughtful planning. Crafting plays a major role, allowing you to knit warm clothes, cook comforting meals, build tools, and gradually repair and customize your burrow into a safe, personal home. Exploration is slow and deliberate, with environmental hazards like freezing temperatures and light threats adding tension without breaking the cozy flow. The story unfolds organically through encounters with woodland characters, including family members and neighbors, each adding emotional context to your journey and reinforcing themes of home, resilience, and quiet healing. Coffee Talk casts you as the owner of a late-night coffee shop in an alternate Seattle where humans live alongside fantasy creatures like elves, orcs, and succubi. Your job is to serve drinks and listen to your customers' problems as they share their lives, relationships, and struggles with prejudice in this modern fantasy world. The drink-making system is simple but engaging. You combine different ingredients to create hot or cold beverages, and serving the right drink at the right time can influence how conversations unfold. The pixel art style perfectly captures the warm, dim atmosphere of a coffee shop at 2 a.m., while the lo-fi soundtrack creates the perfect ambience for these intimate conversations. Each customer has their own storyline that develops over multiple visits, touching on themes like interspecies relationships, career pressures, and societal expectations. The game doesn't have traditional fail states. You can't really mess up, which fits the relaxing vibe perfectly. Between customers, you can use your phone to check social media posts that show how your advice affected people's lives, adding depth to the world. Hello Kitty Island Adventure brings Sanrio's beloved characters to an open-world adventure game where you help restore an abandoned island resort alongside Hello Kitty and friends. You'll explore diverse biomes, from tropical beaches to snowy mountains, each filled with puzzles, collectibles, and activities like fishing, bug catching, and crafting. The crafting system lets you create furniture, clothing, and decorations to customize both your character and the various buildings around the island, with hundreds of items to unlock. Each Sanrio character has their own friendship quest line that reveals their personality and gives you access to special abilities. Keroppi helps with swimming challenges, while Batsmaru teaches you climbing techniques. The movement feels surprisingly fluid, with platforming elements that go beyond what you'd expect from a Sanrio game, including gliding and rail grinding. You'll also take care of adorable creatures, grow crops in your garden, and cook recipes that provide temporary buffs for exploration. The game respects your time, with no energy systems or real-time waiting. You can play at your own pace without pressure. Spiritfarer puts you in the role of Stella, a fairy master for the deceased, who guides spirits to the afterlife aboard a customizable boat that serves as your mobile home base. You'll sail across a beautiful, hand-drawn world, picking up deceased passengers who appear as anthropomorphic animals, each with their own backstory, personality, and final wishes to fulfill before they're ready to pass on. The gameplay loop involves resource gathering, farming, cooking, building new facilities on your boat, and completing quests for your passengers that explore their regrets, accomplishments, and the lives they lived. The management sim elements are relaxing rather than stressful. You'll plant crops, tend to animals, mine resources, and craft items, but nothing is time-gated and you're free to focus on whatever you want. The platforming sections when exploring islands are smooth and satisfying, with upgrades that let you double jump, glide, and zipline across obstacles. The emotional core comes from saying goodbye to passengers you've grown attached to, with each farewell ceremony being a beautiful, bittersweet moment that deals with death and grief in a mature yet comforting way. Animal Crossing New Horizons drops you on a deserted island as part of Tom Nook's Getaway Package, where you'll transform an empty landscape into a thriving community over time. The game operates in real time, synced to your Switch's clock, meaning the time of day, weather, seasons, and special events all match the real world, creating a living world that's always waiting for you. Your daily routine involves collecting resources like wood, stone, and iron, catching bugs and fish for the museum or to sell, talking to your animal neighbors who have distinct personalities and ongoing storylines, and gradually expanding your house and island infrastructure. The crafting system lets you create furniture, tools, and decorations from recipes you discover, while the terraforming feature unlocked later gives you complete control to reshape cliffs, rivers, and pathways however you want. You'll pay off home loans to upgrade your house, unlock new shops and facilities, and fill your museum with fossils, sea creatures, bugs, fish, and art pieces. The multiplayer lets you visit friends' islands or invite them to yours, trading items and just hanging out in each other's custom-designed spaces. Fae Farm blends traditional farming simulation with magical fantasy elements as you arrive in the enchanted island of Azoria to start a new agricultural life alongside a community of Fae creatures. You'll clear your farmland, plant seasonal crops, raise animals, and process raw materials into artisan goods to sell. But the magic system adds unique twists, like growing mushrooms that change time of day, or flowers that reveal hidden paths. The dungeon exploration is more involved than most farming sims, with combat that's simple but satisfying as you fight creatures with magic spells and craftable weapons, while gathering rare resources in procedurally generated caverns. The crafting progression is deep, with dozens of stations to build that let you create everything from potions and furniture to cooked meals and cosmetics for your customizable character. You'll befriend or romance the various townspeople through dialogue and gift-giving, eventually unlocking their personal storylines and cooperation abilities for farming or dungeon delving. The multiplayer supports up to 4 players in online co-op, letting you run a farm together, tackle dungeons as a team, or just hang out in this whimsical world. My Time at Portia places you as a new workshop owner in a post-apocalyptic town that's rebuilding civilization through craftsmanship and community cooperation. You'll take on commissions from townspeople and the local government, crafting everything from simple furniture to complex machines using resources you gather from abandoned ruins, mines, and your own crafting stations. The gameplay loop revolves around collecting materials during the day, then spending time at your workshop assembling items through a hands-on crafting system, where you feed materials into machines and manually combine components. Time management is crucial, but never stressful. Each day is limited, so you'll need to balance exploring ruins for relics, gathering resources, fulfilling commissions, building relationships with the 50-plus townspeople, and participating in seasonal festivals. The social system lets you befriend and eventually romance various characters, each with their own schedules, preferences, and storylines that reveal the history of this world and what caused its downfall. Combat exists, but is optional for the most part, appearing mainly when you venture into certain ruins or story missions. Until Then is a story-driven experience on Nintendo Switch and compatible with Switch 2 that blends visual novel storytelling with light exploration and interactive moments to create a reflective, character-led journey. You step into the shoes of Mark Borja, a high schooler navigating ordinary life in a small town where the mundane and the mysterious blur together through episodes of déjà vu and subtle supernatural threads, encouraging you to pay close attention to both dialogue and environment rather than fast-paced action. The core mechanics lean heavily on reading text, making dialogue choices, and moving Mark through richly detailed 2.5D pixel environments, streets, classrooms, and homes where interacting with objects or using his smartphone's messaging and social functions deepens character relationships and context. Pop-up minigames break up the narrative, ranging from simple rhythm or timing challenges to whimsical tasks like tapping on floating fish balls, but they never dominate the experience and generally don't impact the main story, keeping the focus on mood and connection. Rune Factory 5 perfects the farming life RPG hybrid by combining deep dungeon crawling and monster battling with a fully featured farming simulation and social life system. You play as an amnesiac who joins a peacekeeping organization in the town of Rigbarth, and your duties involve farming crops, raising monsters as livestock, crafting equipment and items, and venturing into dungeons filled with actual boss fights and challenging combat encounters. The action RPG combat is surprisingly robust, with multiple weapon types that each have different movesets, magic spells, and a taming system that lets you recruit monsters to fight alongside you or work on your farm. You'll balance your time between tending crops that you water and harvest daily, exploring dungeons for rare materials and story progression, building relationships with townspeople through daily conversations and gifting, and participating in seasonal festivals. The romance system lets you marry any of the eligible bachelors or bachelorettes regardless of your character's gender, with each character having detailed storylines that unlock through friendship events. Dave the Diver combines two completely different gameplay loops into one addictive package. During the day, you dive into the Blue Hole, a mysterious ocean trench that changes its layout and fish species every time you explore it. You're hunting for fish using harpoons, nets, and eventually tranquilizer guns while managing your oxygen supply and avoiding aggressive sea creatures. At night, you run a sushi restaurant where you serve the fish you caught earlier, hire staff, upgrade your equipment, and manage customer satisfaction. The story follows Dave as he helps his friend Cobra run the restaurant while uncovering the mysteries of the Blue Hole and its connection to an ancient civilization. The pixel art style during diving segments contrasts beautifully with the detailed restaurant management sections, and the game constantly introduces new mechanics like underwater farming, photography missions, and boss battles to keep things fresh across its 20-plus hour campaign. Firewatch puts you in the boots of Henry, a man escaping his troubled personal life by taking a summer job as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness in 1989. Your only contact is your supervisor Delilah, who communicates through a handheld radio from her own tower. The gameplay revolves around exploring the beautiful forest, investigating strange occurrences, and making dialogue choices that shape your relationship with Delilah. You'll navigate using a map and compass, mark locations, and follow coordinates to reach different areas of the park. As the summer progresses, you'll encounter mysterious events, missing supplies, a destroyed camp, shadowy figures watching you, that transform your quiet lookout job into something far more unsettling. The game uses a stunning stylized art style with warm sunset colors that make the wilderness feel both inviting and isolating. There's no combat or fail states, just you, the forest, and an increasingly tense mystery that unfolds through environmental storytelling and your conversations with Delilah.
Sure, buddy. Okay, now go ahead.
Okay, you're probably out here because nobody back home can stand you, which...
Tiny Bookshop lets you live out the fantasy of running your own independent bookstore in a charming small town. You inherit a struggling bookshop and must restore it to its former glory by organizing shelves, ordering inventory, pricing books, and helping customers find exactly what they're looking for. The gameplay loop involves opening each day, restocking shelves from boxes, arranging displays to maximize appeal, and interacting with regular customers who each have their own reading preferences and personal stories. You'll earn money to expand your shop, unlock new furniture and decorations, and eventually host book clubs and author events. The story unfolds through conversations with townspeople who visit your shop, each dealing with their own struggles and finding comfort in the books you recommend. The pixel art style is incredibly cozy, with detailed book covers and satisfying animations as you slide books onto shelves. It's a pure management sim, with no pressure or time limits. You can take as long as you want each day to perfect your bookshop before deciding to close up. PowerWash Simulator 2 builds on the calming foundation of its predecessor by expanding the simple joy of cleaning into a richer yet equally relaxing experience, perfectly suited for cozy play sessions. The core gameplay loop remains focused on methodically removing dirt using a wide range of power washers, nozzles, soaps, and specialized attachments, turning heavily soiled cars, buildings, and large environments into spotless spaces through steady, pressure-free progress. Everything is presented in a first-person view that emphasizes precision and observation, with no timers or penalties, allowing players to clean at their own pace while enjoying the satisfying visual transformation of grime slowly disappearing. New mechanics deepen the loop through larger, more detailed locations, smarter tools that streamline repetitive tasks, and helpful quality-of-life features like dirt highlighting and segmented progress tracking, which keep long jobs engaging without becoming overwhelming. Beyond individual cleaning contracts, the game introduces a customizable home base, where collectibles and decorative elements give a sense of personal progression between jobs. Untitled Goose Game casts you as a mischievous goose, terrorizing a peaceful English village, and it's pure chaotic fun wrapped in a cozy aesthetic. You waddle around different areas, a garden, a shop, a pub, completing a to-do list of pranks and objectives that range from stealing a gardener's keys to trapping a boy in a phone booth. The controls are simple. You can walk, run, flap your wings, honk, and grab objects with your beak. The gameplay is all about observing NPC routines, waiting for the right moment, and executing your pranks while avoiding getting caught. There's no dialogue or traditional story, just a series of connected areas where you cause increasingly elaborate chaos. The charming, hand-drawn art style and dynamic piano soundtrack that responds to your actions create a surprisingly delightful atmosphere. Once you complete the main objectives, you unlock time challenges and a two-player mode where a second goose joins the mayhem. It's short but incredibly replayable, and the sheer joy of being a nuisance never gets old. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma blends farming simulation with action RPG combat and life simulation in a Japanese-inspired fantasy setting. You play as an earth dancer, someone who can purify corrupted land, and you're tasked with restoring a village that's been affected by environmental disasters. The gameplay splits between farming crops, raising monsters as livestock, crafting items, and exploring dungeons filled with enemies to fight in real-time combat. You can tame monsters you encounter and bring them back to your farm, where they'll produce materials and help with daily chores. The story involves uncovering the cause of the land's corruption while building relationships with the villagers through daily conversations and gift-giving, eventually leading to romance and marriage options. The combat uses a stamina-based system where you can wield different weapon types, cast magic, and bring monster companions into battle. Seasonal festivals, cooking competitions, and requests from villagers keep the daily routine varied across the multiple in-game years you'll spend restoring the village. Citizen Sleeper 2: Starward Vector is a narrative RPG set in a cyberpunk universe where you play as a sleeper, a digitized human consciousness inside an artificial body that's slowly degrading. You've escaped the corporation that owns you and must survive while searching for a way to break free permanently. The gameplay uses a dice-based system where each in-game cycle gives you a set of dice to spend on different activities, like working jobs, exploring relationships, building relationships, or pursuing story leads. Your body's condition affects the quality of your dice, creating tension as you balance immediate survival needs with long-term goals. The story branches based on which characters you ally with and which factions you support, with multiple paths leading to different endings. There's no combat. Instead, you're navigating social dynamics, making tough ethical choices, and managing limited resources in a beautifully written sci-fi setting. The minimalist interface and gorgeous illustrated character portraits create an immersive atmosphere as you read through branching narrative paths that react to your decisions. Unpacking turns the mundane task of unpacking boxes into a meditative, storytelling experience that reveals a person's entire life through their belongings. Each level represents a different move to a new home, from a childhood bedroom to college dorms, shared apartments, and beyond. You click on boxes to pull out items and place them wherever you think they belong, organizing drawers, shelves, and closets to make each space feel lived in. The game doesn't explicitly tell you where things go, but you'll get audio feedback when items are placed appropriately. There's no dialogue or text explaining the story. Instead, you piece together the protagonist's life journey by observing how their possessions change, what items they keep or discard, and how their living spaces evolve. The pixel art is incredibly detailed, with satisfying animations for placing each object, and the ambient soundtrack creates a peaceful atmosphere. It's a short experience at around 3 hours, but it tells a surprisingly emotional story about growth, relationships, and the objects we choose to carry through life without ever using words. Discounty is a cozy life sim that turns running a small discount supermarket into a surprisingly thoughtful and engaging routine, blending hands-on management with a narrative-driven town setting. You take charge of every aspect of the shop, from ordering stock and organizing shelves, to keeping the store clean and efficiently running the checkout, creating a satisfying gameplay loop built around rhythm and planning rather than pressure. The register itself evolves over time, reinforcing a sense of progression as your store grows more capable and streamlined. Outside of business hours, the game opens up into a light life sim structure where you explore the harbor town of Blomkest, negotiate trade deals with local producers, and interact with residents whose opinions and personal stories gradually unfold. These relationships give emotional context to your work, as the community reacts in different ways to your supermarket's success, weaving subtle themes about small-town identity and change into the experience. Visually, the expressive pixel art style gives the town warmth and personality, while clear animations make everyday tasks feel tactile and rewarding. Strange Antiquities places you in the role of an apprentice thaumaturge, running a mysterious occult shop in a quaint, atmospheric town, blending calm puzzle gameplay with a narrative rich in curiosity and lore. At its core, the mechanics revolve around serving customers who come in with peculiar problems or requests, and your task is to identify the correct arcane item from your shelves that will help them, sometimes by name, and sometimes by deciphering a description of how it feels, looks, sounds, or even how it interacts with your senses. To make these deductions, you rely on an array of reference books and codices full of clues, guiding you through a satisfying loop of investigation that feels like intuitive detective work. There's no rush. You can take your time examining objects or flipping through lore, and many players enjoy the deliberate pace that turns every discovery into a small triumph. Beyond the shop counter, occasional exploration of the surrounding town and its maps opens up new artifacts and layers of mystery. A short hike drops you on a peaceful island as a bird named Claire, who's visiting her aunt and decides to hike to the mountain peak to get cell phone reception. The entire game takes place on this small but densely packed island, where you'll explore at your own pace, collecting golden feathers that expand your stamina for climbing and flying. You can talk to other hikers and campers scattered around the island who offer side quests, play beach stickball, go fishing, find hidden treasures, or just glide around enjoying the scenery. The movement feels incredibly freeing. Once you collect enough feathers, you can climb any surface and glide long distances, making exploration feel effortless and joyful. The low-poly art style with a pixelated filter gives it a nostalgic charm, while the soundtrack shifts beautifully as you climb higher up the mountain. There's no combat, no fail states, and no pressure. Just you, a mountain to climb, and plenty of optional activities if you want to take your time getting there. Most players finish it in 1 to 2 hours, but the experience is so perfectly crafted and peaceful that it stays with you long after. Snufkin, Melody of Moominvalley, brings the beloved Finnish Moomin characters to life in an adventure game where you play as the wandering musician Snufkin, returning to Moominvalley for spring. The game focuses on stealth and puzzle solving as you help restore harmony to the valley by removing keep out signs placed by the park keeper and freeing creatures called Hattie Fatteners from cages. You'll play melodies on your harmonica to solve environmental puzzles, distract guards, and bring life back to different areas of the valley. The stealth mechanics are forgiving and encourage experimentation rather than punishing failure. If you're spotted, you simply restart from a nearby checkpoint. Between missions, you can explore the valley, fish in quiet streams, forage for items, and interact with familiar Moomin characters who share their stories and wisdom. The hand-drawn art style perfectly captures the spirit of Tove Jansson's original illustrations with warm colors and gentle animations. The game explores themes of freedom, friendship, and the importance of protecting nature without being preachy about it. The whole experience is about 6 to 8 hours and feels like playing through an interactive Moomin storybook. Fantasy Life, If the Girl Who Steals Time, is an RPG where you create a character and choose from multiple life classes, like Paladin, Wizard, Carpenter, or Chef, each with their own skill trees and gameplay styles. You can switch between lives at any time, and many quests encourage you to use multiple classes. Maybe you'll need to gather materials as a miner, craft a sword as a blacksmith, then use it in combat as a mercenary. The story follows your character as they investigate mysterious time anomalies while helping rebuild the town of Utoria and assisting various NPCs with their problems. The real-time combat is simple but satisfying, with different weapons offering varied playstyles from ranged magic to up-close melee attacks. You'll explore diverse areas filled with monsters to fight, resources to gather, and secrets to discover, all while leveling up your various life skills. The crafting systems are deep. You can cook meals, forge equipment, tailor clothes, and create furniture for your customizable home. The game doesn't force you down any particular path, so you can focus on combat lives, crafting lives, or balance everything. Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar puts you in charge of reviving a struggling farm and the town's weekly bazaar, where you'll sell your goods directly to customers. The farming mechanics follow the classic Story of Seasons formula, where you'll till soil, plant crops, water them daily, and harvest them based on each plant's growth schedule across 4 seasons. You'll also raise animals like cows, chickens, and sheep, taking care of them daily to produce milk, eggs, and wool that can be sold or processed into higher value goods. The bazaar system is the game's unique hook. Every week, you set up a stall to sell your products, and your success depends on what you bring, how you arrange your booth, and how well the overall bazaar attracts visitors. You'll need to coordinate with other vendors and complete requests to improve the bazaar's reputation, which in turn brings more customers and better prices. The town has multiple eligible bachelors and bachelorettes you can befriend and marry, each with their own schedules, preferences, and heart events that reveal their personalities. You can customize your farm layout, participate in seasonal festivals, go fishing and foraging, and even take on part-time jobs around town.
There!
Stardew Valley has you inheriting your grandfather's old farm in Pelican Town and transforming the overgrown land into a thriving homestead while becoming part of the community. You'll spend your days clearing debris, planting seasonal crops, raising animals, fishing in various locations, exploring the mines for ores and fighting monsters, and foraging for items in the forests and beaches. The calendar system means each season lasts 28 days, with different crops, fish, and forageable items available, plus seasonal festivals that bring the whole town together. You can befriend all 12 marriage candidates and 18 other townspeople by talking to them and giving gifts they love, with heart events revealing deeper storylines about their lives, struggles, and dreams. The mines provide combat and resource gathering, with 120 floors of increasingly difficult monsters and valuable materials for crafting and upgrading your tools. Money earned from selling crops and goods lets you expand your farm with new buildings like barns, coops, and sheds that you can fill with kegs, preserve jars, and other machines to process raw materials into artisan goods. And there's our list of the top 25 best cozy games on Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. What's your favorite cozy game on Switch? Let me know in the comments, and if I missed any hidden gems, I'd love to hear about them. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Switch Top for more Nintendo content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.